Hello and welcome to the Winding Road Podcast. Woo! What do we want to talk about? It's a little after 3 in the afternoon. I've did a lot of sleeping today, man. A lot of sleeping. I don't know if I was just catching up from holidays, whatnot, or just, can't hardly have any beer at all without feeling like I'm tired the entire next day. I stopped drinking because 2-day hangovers and stuff. And then 2 years go by, all right, cool. I can have one in moderation every now and then and be totally fine. Because I never really had an alcohol drink every day before that. But I had just stopped because of the 2-day hangovers. But I was like, all right, moderation is the key to everything. But man, so yeah, I never go over 4 ever. I had 3 last night, but I don't know. I was just up late talking to a family member I hadn't talked to in a long time, and we just had a good chat. And yeah, so I'm all right, well, I don't know. I had a chance to lay around and catch up, get my body right again after a busy holiday season. When we talked about beforehand with Christmas lights, just a few days after Christmas now, when do you take them down? When do you get over the Christmas holiday spirit? To me, I'm still in it. I'm still feeling the holidays. It's kind of, it morphs though now. It morphs into all right, day after Christmas, yeah, I'm still feeling it. Tree's still on, tree's still looking good. Couple days. 3rd day now, I'm yeah, all right, yep, still gonna leave it on. But I think once New Year's hits, January 2nd, I'm pretty much over it. It can linger around a little bit with the tree, but get it taken down about within a week after New Year's. That's pretty much when the holiday spirit is over. Because I was just talking to somebody the other day, 2 days after Christmas, and he looked kind of like, I don't know, it was he was relieved, but he's sad. He's yeah. He's man, I'm glad Christmas is over, but I'm also kind of sad Christmas is over. And I get that. I understand that. It's yeah, it can be kind of hectic and everything in a busy time of year, but at the same time, it's very special. So you're kind of relieved, but also kind of dang, man, dang, that was fun. Yeah, it wore me out, but man, it was fun. Kind of wish it was still going, But anywho, we can talk about these things on the Winding Road Podcast now, because I get these things out within a week. Within a week of when I record them. We're actually making progress in podcast land. And yeah, I was talking to my family member last night. I was talking to my aunt. Let's say I was talking to my aunt. Just about, I'm telling her plans and things, but then I'm I don't know, I'm just not gonna, but I'm also not worried about it. But she's she's no, I know you're not, but good to talk through things. So obviously you have to figure out, you got to make decisions on stuff, even though it's got more time to think about it. It's kind of just initially thinking about something, what to do about things. I have to get on here and talk a lot about really having to cut down and make hard choices about what I'm going to prioritize my time on, because I can't do it all. I just can't. I can still, it's I feel if I have a passion about something, I'm got to make a podcast about it, got to make a show about it, whatever. It's all right. No, can't. I got to be careful doing that, because whenever I did that for sports and being a sports broadcaster for so long, it's numbed me out on it, and and then my passion, yeah, it was my job for a while, and I made money, and I'm a big believer in doing that for sure. That's a good thing to do in your life, but it can burn you out if you're not careful, and what you love can just become a job, and then you don't love it as much anymore. So you got to be careful in doing that. But I hope everybody's had a great, blessed holiday season, and probably will be Happy New Year by the time you are hearing this. I don't know, like I'm curious about the optimism part of it. It seemed like, everybody gets a new found sense of optimism in the new year. Like I wonder if it's more this year just because, like whatever, the whole political thing, like I'm sure a lot of people will think it's very, very optimistic this year, and I don't really do the political thing, but I mean, I'm optimistic as far as the state of the country and everything like that, just because obviously it's not been too great the past 4 years. But I mean, I don't know, man. I can't control any of that, so I really just tend not to worry about that, any of that stuff. Like, you got a toe on the line of being informed, but it just goes back to moderation. Clicking on here about moderation, it's like I'm not just going to totally bury my head in the sand and not know what's going on. So I might I like watch the local news a little bit, and then a little bit of whatever. But I'm just not going to get caught up in watching it over and over and over, and just whatever. Then you just get anxiety and all that. It's just moderation. Like you could do with about 5, 10, 15 minutes of it a week, maybe. Probably not enough if you truly want to stay informed, but just go, and that goes back to time. Like, what am I choosing to put my time into? Am I going to sit around here and watch the news all day and like not do anything towards my goals? Like, then you just spend a whole lot of time watching or doing something that you have no control over, that you cannot really make much of an impact in. Like, what are we doing? Wasting time. And I apologize if you hear me whoop, shit, spit it out. It's a cinnamon red mint. And I've been doing them because I am 2 days clean on the nicotine, about 2 or 3 weeks clean on the soda. I don't know. I just keep moving though, because I can't think about how much progress I've made in anything, because if I'm thinking about my progress, then I'm just slowing down my motion. Ooh, that's good. If I'm thinking about my progress, then I'm slowing down my motion. Think about that. Let that sink in. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Because I can think about, like, man, I've come a long way in doing this and doing that and doing that, and I acknowledge it, but you just got to keep moving, keep doing things, because leave a little time for reflecting. Moderation, reflect, leave a little time for reflecting on things, and then just keep going. But yeah, we've knocked out a few things over the past few years for sure, and I just want to keep continually growing. Like, what can I do next? Like, yeah, that was a soda thing. Like, so now I drink those. Hopefully they're good for you. The poppies or whatever. It's like a prebiotic soda. Like, those are close enough. If you guys haven't tried that, or there's another brand too, Poppy or Olipop. I think I like the Doc Pops, whatever they're from, but I don't know. I drink both. They're both good. So if any one of them wants to come on, I'll be an spokesman. Do a little endorsing, be a spokesman for you. You got it. Because, yeah, and I put them out for display too, and tell people about them, like it sounds stupid or whatever, but I'm like, oh, maybe I'll save somebody from getting diabetes, by getting off soda, because I was reading something about soda's like 200,000 deaths a year. I guess what maybe through like getting diabetes, or who knows, like acid reflux leads to things. Like, I don't know exactly how they can tell that. All these studies, and anytime, take everything with a grain of salt and don't believe half of what you hear, and don't believe anything you see, the old saying there. But because how can they truly know exactly on all these tests? They can get a pretty good estimate on things, most certainly, but we're not going to get a full thing. But yeah, so I've gotten off the soda, and let me chew this mint up so it doesn't annoy you guys anymore. A little water. But the mint was for the nicotine. 2 days clear on the nicotine. Got a couple points I want to get to here. This is stream of consciousness, but I did click on here thinking about, I want to talk about a couple things. One of them was The little monster. If you read The Easy Way to Quit Smoking, or The Easy Way to Quit Drinking, or The Easy Way to Do This and Do That, it's not that it's easy, man. It's just that you have to tell yourself it's easy and just accept that that's going to be your new reality. On like, all right, but you can keep smoking throughout this whole book, keep doing whatever. You know, because whenever I hit 40, I'm like, I'm out on smoking. I'm not doing it anymore, just because they say that 98 point some odd, back to studies again, but 98 point some odd % of your lungs and shit can heal if you stop smoking by the time you are 40. I was like, I'm out on that, and I've been out on that for quite a while, you know, minus a few just like smokes here and there, but I'm not even going to get into it. Don't want to talk about it, because then I'll just awaken the little monster that is, oh, hey, have one of those. Oh, hey, you want one of these? Oh, yeah, oh. It's that little monster. It's that little voice in there that just gets on his little hamster wheel and like starts going. So you have to kill the little monster. And the only way, like for nicotine, it's, you know, whatever, man. I don't even really want to talk about it that much, because I've just accepted the fact that I'm not going to do it anymore. I've accepted the fact I'm done with it. I don't want to do it anymore. And because I've been able to do stuff in the past, grow, and accomplishing things, I already know that I can do it. I already know that I can do it because I've done way bigger things, overcome way bigger things to get to where I'm at now. So it's like, but you still have these other issues. It's like that you want to get rid of to keep growing. And so I do that. But it's just killing the little monster, you know. It just takes time with the nicotine or whatever. I'd like to maybe try some of those mushroom pouches or whatever, but then you're just replacing something with something else. And in the Easy Way book, that doesn't work. And that's not how you do it. You don't replace something with something else. Something might naturally fall into that slot, like for instance, quit drinking or whatever. I got back into sports cards a little bit somehow, naturally, just because the time that was being used to drink will now be, you know, it got naturally filled by that, by just walking into the store one day. I'm like, oh, some cards. I haven't had any of those since I was a kid. Oh, all right, buy some of those. It just naturally has to happen in there. So you just have to accept. It's like it's like the thin layer I talk about, busting through that thin layer. It's a lot thicker than you think it is, or a lot thinner than you think it is. You think it's really, really thick, but man, it's just taking those little small steps forward that lead to big steps, because once you start doing that, then you realize that layer is not so thick, and then you bust through it. You know, if the thin layer is there of that little voice in your head saying, oh, go do this, go smoke another cigarette, go drink, whatever, because a lot of people have New Year's resolutions, so we'll talk about that a little bit. You know, it's that little voice. You have to not only believe yourself when you say you're no longer this and you're no longer that. That's why you don't even need to count, because once you're done, you're done. There's no sense in counting. You're just a non-smoker. You could say, oh, non-smoker, day one. I'm day one of being a nut. But no, because then it just just don't do that. You're just not that other thing anymore. You don't need to count or do any of that. But the belief, you have to have the belief on something for sure. But and you have to have the faith. More than anything, though, I think clarity is very, 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 very key. So I think you gain clarity maybe by doing research and stuff, studying and knowing, just like I said with the smoking thing. It's like, all right, if I know that, then I'm just not going to do it anymore. And it's really about keeping it simple. Like, all right, it's a mindset thing, man. It's totally a mindset thing. And if I'm like, well, I'm not ready. So then you're just giving a negative off on it. Well, I'm not ready. Then you're just doing negatives, man. And you can't do that. You just have to. It's just like one of those things. When you get it, you get it. And you'll know. Like, just stop fighting. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting whatever it is you're doing. Just stop fighting it. Stop fighting it. And hope that, and I'm not saying stop fighting it and let it consume you. I'm obviously not saying that. But I'm just saying if you know that it's going to benefit you to not do something anymore, or to do something like exercising or whatever, if you know that it's benefit, then just gain the clarity that you know you're going to be better off by doing it, and then just do it. That's probably the best way I can sum that up. But clarity is the key. Clarity is a big key. The other thing I was thinking about was funny story. Oh boy, I'm not sure if I want to tell this. I don't think I've told it yet. Maybe I have on the last thing. Like, I don't know. I guess it does come from doing so much. Sometimes I forget what I tell you guys, to be honest with you. But recently, I was joking around about, like brushing your teeth at night or doing something or whatever. Again, we're back to trying to improve on things. And I made the joke about like, oh, you're gonna have to get me well, I can't do that. Like, oh, no, I need a star chart. Like, joking around, because I already knew that I did like an adult version of that, I don't know, look up, is star charts effective for kids? Probably, because you're giving the positive reinforcement, like negative consequences and trying to get people to not do things. I don't think works very well, and I believe studies and research will back that up. Positive reinforcements on things. And I did that for years, like trying to quit porn or drinking or smoking or whatever it was. I would keep wins and losses on this shit in my phone. It never worked. And I was like, man, but I thought this was a good method. I'm keeping score here. Like, I love to keep score. I love to keep track of progress and things. And then I realized what the problem was and why it didn't work recently, because whenever I was joking about making that star chart with my girlfriend, she actually made me one. I was like, oh boy. I'm like, I'm not doing stars. I will respectfully do check marks. Check, done. Because whenever I make those actual lists for my daily stuff, which is also very important, I think putting it on paper, putting a damn piece of paper in your pocket's huge. Phone thing works, sure, can. But I think the phone, whenever we're doing that on our phone, gets lost. It gets lost with the other stuff, so it doesn't work. Because then it gets this distraction on there with everything else. But if you have just a piece of paper in your pocket that has your list for the day and you're making check marks on it, that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. But anyways, she makes me a damn chart. I'm like, all right, I'm doing check marks. I'm doing check marks. It's a physical chart. It's an improvement chart. And they say, whenever you're like trying to realize your things, visualizing your dreams and all that's like making vision boards. Like, I've yet to do that. I've done that kind of with posting stuff on my walls to remind me about stuff that, I can do and accomplish, or I'll put like something on there that I have accomplished. I'm like, all right, cool. I did that and I know I can do more or whatever, but they say making a vision board is a good thing too. But back to the star chart and why it didn't work with the wins and losses from what I had previously done is because I had no accountability. Nobody was there to hold me accountable for my wins and losses. I was doing a decent job of holding myself accountable at times, but then I would fail at other times. But if you have somebody that can help with that, man, it's such a key. It's huge. It's huge. And then if you can build like a partnership on that with helping each other grow, man, like that's one thing I got in a relationship. One thing that I asked, and it's a yes or no. Can we keep growing? Like, do you want to keep growing? As if the answer is no, then then we're done. That's it. Everything's done. Whatever. That's the only thing I've ever asked, is that we just keep growing. And that's so key and so important. And so we've done a lot of that. And just with anybody, whoever, it doesn't have to be your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. The key to that, man, is really gentleness, all the virtues that's talked about in the good book, the good word the biblioteca, the Bible. It's talked about in there. I don't like bringing these things up because people are like, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm going to click off here now. No, man, we can learn stuff whether you are or not. You can learn stuff from there in other places, because I do. But yeah, gentleness, kindness, is so important. The tone is just so huge. I know we talked about that a little bit before, but being gentle, and hopefully, just have the patience if somebody starts getting a little uppity about something, you know. I think another thing too is like, oh, you're getting loud, and we already know this because we've been down the road where it's like you already know there's been times where you're screwed up and you can't do that. So it's like point it out immediately when it starts happening, and hopefully you're at a point where you can still, both parties are still like, okay, yep, we gotta flip the script on this one real quick, and we can do it because we know from our past mistakes. You learn from the past mistakes, all that good stuff. Hope you guys have a very happy new year. Appreciate you being on here. I'm me, you're you, but we are each other. Love, inspire, unite. God bless.